So one popular system against the King's Indian, or the Grenfell Indian in fact, is to develop the bishop over g2. This has always been considered to be a strong system. And against the King's Indian, I think it's excellent. So what we focus on here is the main variation after knight b to d7 to castle, and then black plays e5. And after e4 and c6, then the most played move is h3, but it's also possible to play b3. And here we have rook e8 as the main move, but also moves like queen a5 or queen to b6 is possible. But today we'll only focus at rook e8, and then after bishop e3. I think the bishop is often best placed here on e3, and yeah, if now for example a5, then queen c2 and activating his rooks in the center, it makes sense. The main thing for white is just to keep the space advantage, then he will always be a bit better. Black can often try to attack the pawn on c4, but when he does it with the queen in this position after a4, a5, not a4, a5, but a5, a4, then the queen is in trouble, because after knight c5, then white can play knight c3 to b5, and black is lost, because bishop d2 is threatened, winning the queen, and on top of it, the knight on b5 is also threatening knight c7, and knight captures d6, and this is too many threats, and after capturing the knight, then it will be a lost position for black. So bishop e3, the main move here is to capture on d4, then we capture back with the knight, and often the knight is unprotected on d4, and that's why the bishop on is well placed on e3. Knight c5, queen c2, and here if he attacks with queen e7, then the point is that we do not have to play f3. After f3, black would have a good position, but we can instead play rook f to e1, and the point is that knight captures e4 is not a strong move because of bishop d2, and then white will be in winning position or close to it. After queen b4, both b7 and d6 is singing, and I don't think that black can save the game, but white still have technical difficulties. Bishop d7, knight b3 makes sense to counter-attacking the knight on c5, because if now knight c captures e4, then bishop d4, and if bishop e6, then we can just capture the pawn, and then now we know that the pawn ending is lost for black, so white has the better game because of the better pawn structure. And if knight a6, rook a to d1, then white will just improve his position slowly, but the main thing is not to take advantage of the space advantage, but simply to keep it and improve the position slowly, make sure that black do not have any contra, and then he can just move forward with his moves. A4 is also a possibility. Of course, you always have to be careful with weakening the b4 square, but in the game, white played active on the king side with f4, and here definitely he has the better game.